everyone, welcome back to Smiles in a Bite. Today I am walking you through another chocolate dipped treat tutorial. This is a treat that's, I feel like, isn't as popular, but it's still something really cute. I know people enjoy it when I've made it. It's chocolate dipped Madeleines. You can make them, but it's a tedious process. It requires like a special hand. So many things can go wrong. And honestly, they weren't my favorite to make in pastry school, so you can buy them. Usually, if I'm making them for a party, I buy them at Costco. They have a box of, I think it's like 2 dozen, and they're all individually wrapped, which is great. These I just got at Ralph's, just for the sake of the video. The only thing is, while they're super cute, and people do enjoy them, they're kind of a hassle a little bit. I've had so many break as I'm trying to dip them, as I'm trying to work with them and anything, they'll just like snap in half. They're a cookie, but it's also like bread, so it's like super weird. And if you leave them out, these will dry out really fast and they get really hard, and it's not a good time. So you have to be more careful and more delicate with these, which is kind of a pain because you invest a bit more time, but still is kind of worth it once you get the final outcome. So that's that. And then to decorate them, this is my fondant mold. Usually I use it for fondant, but you can use chocolate in them. I got this one off of Amazon. I think it cost me around $10. These molds are a bit of an investment. You can find some really good cheap ones, but for good quality ones, like with a nice design and everything, and that they don't rip easily, you're gonna spend a little bit more. But I do have some in my Amazon storefront, which I'll try and link down below. But Amazon is honestly a great resource for these. They'll be a little bit more expensive in cake supply stores, at least that's been my experience, even at Michael's. And Amazon just has a wider variety. The only thing is you have to double check that they're food grade material. You can't just use any material when it comes to food, and that just means like it's safe to come into contact with food. Like it's not gonna seep any chemicals or anything. So when I fill the molds, well, when I used to, because I don't always do chocolate anymore, I use my piping bag. I take my chocolate. And normally when I would do them with chocolate, I like to pop them in the freezer to help them set really fast. The only thing with that is you do run the risk of your chocolate piece, whatever it is you made, breaking as you're taking it out, just because it's moving from like the super cold to a room temperature environment kind of shocks the chocolate. And you kind of need to give it time to come down to room temperature, so you can work with it and handle it easily, and you'll be able to pop it out of the mold without it breaking. So this has roses, but it also has these 2 different odd looking flower ones, so I'm gonna use those, because when you're doing flowers on a cake or cupcakes or with chocolate, you kind of want to try and do natural occurring colors, just so that it doesn't look like crazy. That was a big thing that I was taught in school and like with any courses that I took, is you want to try and use natural occurring colors, at least when it comes to flowers, just to make it more realistic and then to add that little touch. That doesn't mean you can't do crazy colors. I know for fiesta, like themed parties, you do like the red and the blue, which is great because they still look nice and you want that pop of color. But normally that's what they want, is the natural occurring colors. So I'm just gonna leave these to set here at room temperature. It's gonna take a little longer, but that's so you know it can be done, and you don't always have to rush to put it in the fridge or in the freezer, because you can potentially forget them in there. I know I have. So next we're just going to take our Madeleines. Now for this, I wouldn't use such a tall container with the chocolate level being so low. That's just because it makes it a little bit harder to, one, keep your hands clean, and then I feel like you kind of run a little bit more of a risk of breaking the cookie or the Madeleine. So I'm gonna dip it at a bit of an angle. You don't have to dip it the whole way in. And it's nice because you get that little bit of a curve and it doesn't look what's the word? It's not so out of place. Or it doesn't look awkward because it ends at an awkward spot or anything. So you kind of like go along with the curve of the cookie. So I dip it like that. And I rest it on the tip and then on the, it's called the nipple of the Madeleine. It is actually the word for it. You can Google it. When I heard it in pastry school, I thought it was weird, but that's what they call it. They call it the little nipple. So I haven't done it in a while, but you can drizzle with something other than a piping bag. Normally I would use a spatula that has like a pointed end. That makes it a bit easier. I'm gonna try it anyway. I should be able to do it. So you kind of want to wait until you have like a desired thickness for your drizzle, because if I start drizzling like this, that's how thick my drizzles will be, and I don't want that. And you want to pick up enough to where you have a nice amount to drizzle. You don't want to like be halfway and you have to re-dip and try and start on that same line. And then you want to move kind of quickly. You can do it like that. So I'm ready to pop out my little chocolates. And the way I do it is I pull back on the sides. You just pull, and that'll help release it from the little grooves. And then press underneath it, and it comes out super easily. And that's what I'm gonna use for the Madeleines. So what I'm gonna do is I can drizzle it in the purple, or I could use this same tan color if I wanted to. But I want the tan, the little flower to pop just a little bit more because it's the accent of it. So I'm gonna drizzle with the purple or lavender. So my chocolate is a bit thicker, so a good idea would be for me to go and reheat it, but I should still be okay. After a while of working with chocolate, you kind of know when you can still drizzle with it, when you can still work with it, or when it's just too cold. You learn those like little waiting times, because if you reheat your chocolate too much, you do risk burning it just because you're overheating it, and you don't want that to happen because it could be the last bit of chocolate you have, or it creates waste. So what I'm gonna do, and I squeeze my bag a little bit just to make sure I don't have any air bubbles in it, just because those air bubbles cause those little hiccups as you're drizzling. So I'm gonna drizzle along the same direction, or horizontally, no, diagonally, the way I dipped it. So I'm just trying to follow this line, and my chocolate is setting really quickly. So something I've done in the past is I have tried to kind of cut corners and reheated my piping bag. Nothing happens to the chocolate, but it messes with the integrity of the piping bag. So it's not a good idea to do that when your chocolate is getting too cold. It's better to just dump it into the container and reheat it like that. So I'm gonna start just along this line. So my drizzles are coming out thicker because of the temperature of the chocolate. Just really quickly while it's still wet, I'm gonna add the little flour. So this is another chocolate dip treat that you can make at home. I think it's great for parties. Honestly, super simple. I didn't do anything too special. Things you can get on Amazon, in store. You do not have to be near a cake supply store. You do not have to buy crazy special equipment. So yeah, it's not too bad. And you have something pretty for your guests. But that's the final result. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye!